350 kids, and I gave birth to that guy over there. He was my number 3, and within another year, I was pregnant with number 4. I was like, I can't drive 45 minutes every day. I've got to leave. I am so sorry. And after 6 years, I left that job to become the director of another school, and realized that I really love this. Not that much yet, but I see the mountaintop, to give a little hiking analogy, and I really love what I do. And not only do I love what I do, but I think I could actually do this forever. And it was at that moment in time that I just happened to be in Lakeshore Learning Materials. Long story, I can tell you over coffee later. Ended up working also for Lakeshore, traveling around the country doing workshops. And then the job of being a professor fell in my lap. And so I am now a preschool director and a professor. And I will tell you this, it is the most incredible job I've ever had. I can't imagine ever doing anything else. I've also been really lucky for the last 20 years to have Avital as my better half in many ways. And she has been traveling with me, running the school with me. We took a school that went from 80 or 90 kids to 350 right before COVID. And it has been an incredible journey. And so now I am literally just going to pay it forward. So you're going to hear about companies and everything today, but I want you to know this first and foremost, I am not a saleswoman. I am not here to sell a company. I am here to simply tell you what worked for me and how I got there. And then you take that and do with it whatever you want. Okay. Speaker view is paused. Oh, and we've paused this. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Running some technical difficulties.
That's okay.
We're figuring it out.
Next slide. Okay, so these are the 5 things in a nutshell, and I'm sure you've heard some of these before. It's nothing new. I'm not inventing anything new. What I think I'm going to do is put a different spin on it. So have a vision, have a wing person, not what you think. Believe and invest in your teachers, leverage technology, and invest in your customers. Next. Thank you. So first, have a vision. Yes, sorry. Oh, you're going to get, the last slide will have my email address and my cell phone number, and I am more than happy. I've shared everything I do. Absolutely. So have a vision. There's a great story that at the opening of Disney World, Walt Disney wasn't there. He had passed away, and 2 of his executives said, it's a shame that Walt couldn't be here to see this. And the other one said, we're here because he did. Picasso said that before an artist ever even starts to mix his paints, he has to have a vision of what that painting is. I have just realized that because I just took up painting. I'm 20, so in my old age I've taken up painting, and I am having a blast with it, and I wake up in the morning with a vision of what it is. Your vision has to be one, though, of excellence. If your vision is mediocrity, you are going to be seen as mediocre. You are not going to succeed well in this business. You're not going to love it. You love things when you're doing really well at it. You love things when you're making money. Because money, let's face it, is that feedback that says you're doing a great job. You're going to love it when everybody else shares that vision with you. If you are not a great communicator, find someone who is. If you're not a great PowerPoint maker, find someone who is. Know where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are, and find the people who are going to help you get there, but make sure that everybody shares that same vision. Imagine being in a rowboat and everybody's oar is going in a different direction. So when you walk into a classroom and you say, oh my gosh, I can't believe this teacher is doing this, the teacher is doing that because they don't share that vision. If the teacher comes up to you and says, I need $20 to buy something at Lakeshore, and you don't want to buy a lot of consumable materials, they don't share the vision like we have at our school, which is we try to be a garbage-free school. So we don't buy a lot of glue and construction paper. We want teachers to share that vision. So you've got to make sure to have that vision done. Maybe go to the next one. Let's see what, yeah. So you have to communicate that vision differently to different people. There is something called, am I talking too fast? No, maybe not. I have a lot to get through. There is something called theory of mind. Theory of mind, and Daniel, you're not going to be able to tell Daddy how to say this. Theory of mind is when you know how somebody's brain works and you hit them a different way to get something done. So my husband, for example, thinks I'm a bossy bitch. And so I have to know that when I am, and so I know that when I talk to him, I have to do it a little differently. So when it's trash day and he doesn't remember, I kind of cock my head to the side and I go, what's today? Is today trash day or is tomorrow trash day? And so I'm not bossing, I'm acting like the lower, the idiot here. And he goes, oh, I think it's today, oh, I'll take care of that. But if I said, Edward, it's trash day, how do you think he's gonna react? Nobody wants to have that kind of feedback given to them. I raised 4 kids. Each one of those kids needed something different from me. And so you have to know who that person is, leverage them. So for example, if you're all my staff and I want to implement some kind of change, I will start politicking. Not in the dirty sense, but in the right sense. So I'll go up to the first person and I'll say, I have an idea, what do you think about this? Get some buy-in. Oh my God, that's amazing. She'll go gossip to somebody else, great, it's starting. Then I'll go to the next person, hit them up with theory of mind the way I think they need to be told, and so on and so forth. So then when we get to the final meeting where I say, hey, I've got an idea, what do you all think about this? I've already got buy-in by half the people. That's really what happens at Congress. If you've ever gone to Congress, there's nobody on the floor. They're only there when like C-SPAN has a camera. Otherwise, they're all negotiating in the back room, trying to spread it person by person until they get that done. If you simply have staff meetings and you walk in and you say, I have an idea, we're changing from closing at 5, we're closing at 6 from now on, you're gonna have a major walkout. Not that everybody doesn't necessarily want to make more money, it's that you barked it at them. The vision has to be shared. It has to be felt almost like we came up with it on our own without you. Okay. And if you have any questions, just stop me at any point. Next, okay. So that's number 1. Number 2, will you just stand up? You gotta stand up. Can I just get around it? I love her. So you have to have a wing person. Now, Avital will tell you, go to the next one, because I love the, oh yeah. Avital will tell you that she has contradicted, argued, and usurped my decisions many times. A wing person is not an assistant. An assistant is someone you bark orders at. Get that newsletter out, get that parent to pay the tuition, whatever. A wing person is the person that you trust to challenge you. The wing person is the person who you know, and you give them that right to say, you're wrong. We had a little disagreement the other day in the hotel room last night, I'm just gonna say. She said, are we gonna talk about it? I said, okay. And we talked about it. That is my wing person. She makes me a better person. I hope I make her a better person because we are together. It doesn't have to be a co-equal. It can be someone who is still subordinate to you, but you have to give them the authority to challenge you, because if nobody challenges you, you end up like Justin Bieber. That song where he's all alone. What if you have nobody in the, yeah, because everybody was yes people. And it sounds great in the beginning, but at the end, if you have nobody to challenge you, nobody's gonna stop you from making mistakes and fumbling.
May I ask you that?
Oh, please.
So if you are the wing person, you want to be the wing person, you have to have those goals. You have to have that vision as well. You cannot just say, okay, I'm going to do whatever, I'm going to go ahead and do whatever Tamar tells me or whatever. Even before Tamar became the assistant director, I knew myself that I wanted to be the assistant director. And I took everything upon me, even without her asking me to do that. And if it's to grade with teachers, if it's to make sure that the teacher's room look the way the teacher needs it to look. If teacher needed material, I went to get it before she even knew that I went and got it. And after that, we consulted and I made sure she knows what I did. And then I became the assistant director. So if you want to be the wing person, go ahead and do stuff before even being asked. And then.
There you go. We have an expression.
Initiative.
Yeah, if you ever saw the replacements, the quarterback always wants the ball. I love that line. For those of you that will want, again, you'll have my cell phone number and my email address at the end. This is a really great little quiz to see what kind of leadership you have. I can't take credit for this. When I was doing my doctoral studies at USC, Dr. David Marsh taught us all in that cohort about horizontal leadership. Vertical leadership is when you have one person at the top and everybody is subordinate. Instead, what we do at our school is we have what we call horizontal leadership. I will share with you in another slide how we run the school, but I am not the end all. In a school of 350 kids, I I am not the only decision maker. And I have removed myself, in some ways relinquished some of that power in order to get higher levels of excellence. And I think that's why we have been so successful. If you think you're the only one at the top, you're going to be alone at the top in many more ways than just what you know. So go to the next slide. And the next slide, again, if you ask for this stuff, I'll send it to you. This is simply going to tell you how to score this. And again, it's not for everybody. Not everybody is going to be able to relinquish control. I know many people in my life that they'll say yes, 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 it sounds great, and then they can't give it up. All right, next one. Remember that none of us is as smart as all of us. That's probably one of the most important lessons from that set of slides, is that you are going to be so much better when you get buy-in. And at the fifth lesson that I learned, you'll see even more of that. Okay, lesson 3. Believe and invest in your teachers. So I was talking here a little bit before we started. In the state of California, we have done a total injustice to young children and families. And that is by only requiring 12 units of our lead teachers and very much less of others. I speak very openly about my 4th child. He was born what we call twice exceptional. So he had a very high IQ, and he was born with level 2 autism. So autism has level 1 is high functioning, level 3 is institutionalized, and level 2 is somewhere in the middle. And he had 80 hours of therapy a week. 80 hours of therapy a week for 3.5 years, because he was my 4th and I knew what to do. I was a doctor already in this field, and I threw everything at him. When I went to that IEP and the IFSP through the regional center, I was like, you can't tell me he's only getting occupational therapy once a week. No, if I need to take you to court, I'll oh, no, it's okay, it's okay. And now when we go to IEPs for kids in our school, they're like, oh, whatever you guys want, we'll give you. Because they know they can't argue with us. And it was really sad, because even when he went to the same elementary school that his siblings had been going to, they refused to work with the IEP because they said, if we let him get up every 15 minutes to take a brain break, every other child in the class is going to want to do it. And I said, no, they're not. That's not how kids work. Kids are so much more intuitive, empathetic, and sensitive to the needs of others than us adults are. They get it. And by the time he was in 5th grade, he had a teacher sock him in the stomach in front of the whole class. That's another story. That's maybe over a glass of wine. And by the time he finished 8th grade and was done with that school, his bedroom wall was plastered with his suspension and detention slips. So much so that he hated school. He's like, I'm going to go to school every single day in high school in my pajamas. And he did. Except for Halloween, when the principal sent me pictures of him in a suit. And when he graduated valedictorian from high school, he went in silk pajamas. Why? Because he had one teacher, and I think it was like called an improv class or something, who came to school in his pajamas as well one day. And Josh decided, change it all around, and I'm going to do really well in school, and it changed him. Just one teacher. That's all you really need is one teacher. But we don't do a really great, I gotta show you another, I'm gonna show you, this is gonna be a nugget that's not related to this class, but I'm gonna show you something. Can I borrow paper? You'll get to keep this. So I'm gonna show you something. This is how bad our schools are. Sorry. When we first draw pictures, right? When we're little, can you all see this? We draw this, right? And then we draw this, and then we draw this. When do you start teaching a child to learn how to read? I know this sounds disconnected, you'll see where I'm going. When do you start teaching a child to learn how to read? Watch. When the legs hit the ground. Why? Because this is how their pictures end up looking, right? Why? Because now they understand object orientation in space. Now watch these letters. I'll autograph this for you. See these letters? They're all the exact same letter. The only difference is object orientation in space. So there were fMRIs that were done. I've been talking about this forever. Got invited to go hear a lecture at the New York Academy of Sciences where people had taken these ideas of mine, and they actually conducted fMRIs on young children who were learning to read with ground in the picture and without ground in the picture. Those without ground in the picture learning to read, when they started to be taught to read, the rote memory behind the ear lit up. For those who had ground in the picture, the limbic system lit up. Why is that important? Your limbic system is your emotional brain. So if I write the word snow, easy to sound out, and you're reading it with the rote brain, you go snow. But if you're reading that word with your limbic system, meaning your emotional brain, you see white. You feel cold. You get an emotional connection to that word you love reading. If you saw my husband, great guy, hates reading. Why? Talking to his mom. He was forced to learn how to read before he had ground in the picture. It is a mistake that we don't better educate our teachers who work in early childhood. You cannot say that 0 to 5 are the critical years of development and then throw teachers at them with no tools to help foster optimal development. You know, everybody is born with an IQ, but it's only a potential IQ. Just because you have a potential IQ of 140 doesn't mean you're going to be 140. It depends on what those brain cells do. And you are born with 100 billion brain cells. Everyone can make up to 20,000, no, I think it's 12,000 connections, sorry. 0 to 12,000 connections. It's an astronomical number. But if you don't have teachers in 0 to 5 who are actually giving them great experiences to trigger those neuronal connections, they're not going to reach 140. So we have to invest and believe in our teachers and understand that they are the ones who are going to be front line. They're going to be the ones working. And if we give them the tools to love their job, they won't leave you. I know that because research has been done to see why teachers leave their jobs. They take the jobs for money, but they stay if they have a feeling of being in on things. So if they have, remember we went that other slide, horizontal leadership, if they have a way of being in on the decision making, they leave their jobs when they don't feel competent and confident doing their jobs. So if you follow some of these things, what did we do? And again, you'll see as I go on today, we leveraged money from different areas of the budget, explaining to the teachers, hey, you know, if we start spending less money on construction paper, we're going to put that money into your salaries. If you guys can spend less money on consumables, we will spend more money on you. Now, salaries, you know, if you make $10 an hour, round number, I have to add another 25% for all the other taxes and insurances and everything else. But if I pay for a college class, that's straight money. There's no 25% added on. And not only that, but when I send you to a college class or I send you to the CAYC conference, I reinvigorate your passion for working in early childhood. I make you part of the family. You're not going to leave me. We have, her and I are like waiting for somebody to please quit because we have other people we want to hire. Nobody leaves. The average lifespan of a teacher at our school is 20 years. I don't know. We actually have, well, she's been there longer than 20 years. I'm only there 20 years. We have teachers who are there for 30 years. They don't leave us because we invest heavily in them. So, okay, sorry, next slide. Love your employees, obviously, but that goes for everybody. It goes for the janitors, the security people, everybody. All right, next one. So here's how we operate our teachers. And again, you can take it or leave it, but this is what we do. First of all, there is a diss when you call somebody an assistant. I think it's a diss. So we call everybody teachers, because everybody works with the kids. But we have 5 levels of teachers. So the first level is people who are brand new to the field. They're just starting out, but they're getting their units, because we don't want to hire somebody who's going to accounting school. We really want to hire people who want to work in the field. They're professional. Again, remember, I don't settle on mediocrity because we are not mediocre. I want the best. Level 2 is what you would think of as a teacher's assistant or a teacher in training. This is, level 2 is the person that if the lead teacher is out for a day or a week, I can let them run the class, but I would never advertise them as the lead teacher. They are still a level 2 teacher in training internally for us, and they know it. And by the way, if you email me, I'm also happy to send you my job descriptions. They're long. Lead teacher. Lead teacher by me is now an exempt employee. Not everybody can afford that. especially in California. But I never have to pay overtime, and I also don't have to worry about a lawsuit because they are an exempt. Do you all know what an exempt employee is? So in a nutshell, really fast, I'm not a lawyer, so don't take me for law, but I will tell you. In California, a non-exempt employee is an hourly employee that you have to pay for every minute that they work. They clock in, they clock out, they get a 10-minute break, half-hour lunch, overtime, etc. If you send them home and you want them to do calendar or emails from parents, or you send an email at 8 o'clock at night, technically, they could sue you and they would win 100% because you sent an email after work hours. They had an expectation that they had to read it. Be very careful. A lot of suits pending right now in California, up and down the state because of this. An exempt employee has to have 3 things met. All 3 things have to be met in California in order to be an exempt employee. Number 1, they have to have what we call a final degree. So there has never been a lawsuit about this. So I have teamed up with a group of lawyers, and we have decided professionally that the highest thing that you need in order to be a lead teacher in California is a master teacher permit. Right? Would you, if you went to court, that's right, that's the highest teacher credential we have in early childhood right now. And so master teacher permit. Number 2, they have to be paid 40 hours a week times double California minimum wage. So right now, California minimum wage is $15.50 an hour. They have to be paid $30, $31 an hour times 40 hours a week, no matter how many hours they work. If they work 100 hours a week or if they work 5 hours a week, they have to make that much money a week. And the third thing is they have to be responsible for the operation of their class. So you cannot pay a level 2 teacher. It is actually, I mean, you could, but it's technically not kosher. So it's how we got all of our teachers. We phased it in over about 5 years because we had to start manipulating the budget and everything else. We also had to start working on how to shrink different line items, and I'll tell you how we did that as well. But that is why nobody leaves us, because they enjoy a set salary 12 months out of the year. That's the other thing that we did, was we went from a 9-month or 10-month school year in a summer program to a 12-month school year. Parents love it, teachers love it, they get their medical insurance and everything else for the whole year. By the way, that's the other thing we did. We took out how much we pay for medical insurance and made them pay a part of it. I think they also appreciate it now more, but it went into salary. So that way, if you get medical insurance from somebody else, you have a higher salary. Number 4 is a lead teacher who can mentor others. So that level 4 teacher will be the one that will put a new level 1 or level 2 in their classroom. And level 5 are the teachers who now share administrative responsibilities, and we've got like half a dozen. So that feeling of being in on things. Yes?
Can you go back to the requirements to be non-exempt?
To be non-exempt, three things. Number 1, you have to have a final degree. So again, there is no case law. Doesn't matter what's on the books. It matters what case law is, like what's been argued in front of a judge. So there is no case law. So I would argue that it's a master teacher permit from the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing. That is the highest credential you need in early childhood to be the head teacher of a classroom. Number 2 is you have to be paid twice California minimum wage times 40 hours a week. And number 3 is you have to be responsible for the operation of the class.
And then you don't pay taxes. They're exempt.
No, you pay, no, it's payroll, sure, it's payroll. It's just that it's a set salary, it's not hourly. I don't have, so I save a lot of time with bookkeeping and everything else because I'm not managing time clocks for most of my staff.
So even if they go home after 6 hours and they're supposed to be there for 8, it doesn't matter because they are entitled for 40 hours a week. So it doesn't matter if they work from home, I don't need to pay them.
But when we have events on the weekends and they're putting in another 10 hours, we also don't pay them.
Exactly. If you're basically exempt from putting in overtime, like.
I'm exempt from everything except their salary.
It's
Yes.
more professional.
It's a professional sounding salary. It's a professional salary.
And realistically, how many of your teachers are on one
How many of ours?
percentage?
35%.
But again, it took 5 years to shrink a lot of, and again, you'll see as we go through the slides where we took money out of in order to do it. But I will also tell you that the higher your quality, why do people pay more for a Mercedes than a Hyundai? People buy Mercedes because it's branding, yes, and people want the best. And I will tell you that when people come to our school, they're like, oh, we heard about you. We heard about you, we heard about you, we heard about you, we heard about you. There's a reputation that you get, and people will pay more, especially if you explain to them the whole idea of what 0 to 5 means, and what it means to have teachers who have no units and teachers who have units, or degrees, or credentials. So we tout that on the tours.
So you've got 35% of your staff is at 60,000 a year,
Yes.
and then what's your other?
Oh, so I will tell you. So brand new to the field is minimum wage, or, you know, if they've been there for a few months after probation, we have a 3-month probation, they might get a little bit more. Nobody ever makes more than $23 an hour by us. You gotta, if you've been here that long and you're at $23 an hour, you should be working towards exempt status. And it'll take them a few years, and then that's what they get. Yeah.
So as you said, let's us, you
The-
have to pay more
yes.
than today. How do we work out for the fees for the children to make it higher?
So we have people who donate money. We solicit very heavily for donations to help people who can't afford tuition, because there's always going to be kids who can't. We have a child right now in our school who has a genetic anomaly. We're very inclusive, so we get a lot of these things. He has a trach tube, and when he goes to sleep, he has to be hooked up to a machine. And he has a nurse who comes with him to school all the time, because he has issues. They pay so much for this nurse, they cannot afford preschool. So we pretty much give it to them for free. So, you know, again, there's other ways, and for anybody that has individual issues, again, I'm happy to talk to anybody. Okay, let's go to the next one. We gotta keep going. Here's the other thing. Don't try to change your teachers. Go through a really great interview process. Our interview process, they have to come for a day and actually work in the school. I'll even pay you, I don't care, but I don't want to get married to you if I haven't dated you. This is no, like, you know, 90 Day Fiance, whatever that show is where you don't see your fiance. And not only that, but we also have a thing. We will try every form of marriage therapy before we get divorced. We will try changing your room, we'll talk to you, we'll try everything. And if not, we try to counsel you out, not fire you. We make moving through those 5 levels fair and equitable. It's very transparent. Salary scale, we have a salary scale printed. Everybody knows what the salary scale is. We provide assessment rubrics prior, and so again, I'll send that to you as well. Although you guys might have it on your website, I don't know, the teacher evaluation. There's a teacher evaluation that we use. It's long and extensive. It's not that fill in, how are they with kids, how are they with parents. It's very ... It's very intensive. That way they know what's expected of them as well, and we model best practices ourselves. It's not beyond us to change a diaper, to sit and do circle time. Teachers know if they're having a hard moment, call us, we'll tap you out, and we'll come in and cover for you. Totally fine. Okay, next slide. So what do we know? I think I'm gonna kind of run through this. Huh? We have another hour? We have a half an hour. Wait, what time does this end? Wait, is it 9:30 or 10? Oh, we have one more hour. Okay, great. Okay. I don't know why I thought it was an hour. Okay. So here, just going more to what's the likelihood. Staff turnover is one of the first signs of a low quality center. Sorry, I don't want to ask you who does, who doesn't. But staff turnover means something there wasn't meeting that teacher's needs. And it's really hard when, like, we have a parent, we were on the plane coming yesterday, and a parent called right before we got here, and she's like, oh my God, I have my 3rd kid, we have to come back, and his teacher this still there, and his teacher that's still there. Why do people go to McDonald's? Because they know the quality is crap, but they know what they're gonna get every time they go. So we want our quality to be high, and we want them to know they get that same, excuse me, high quality every time they come. However, people will buy whatever you sell them. Eventually though, if you sell them something that's fake goods, they will figure it out. Go to the next one. These were the top research. I'm a professor, everything's based on research. These were the top 10 list of teacher complaints. Look at what number 1 is. Abusive directors. You might not even realize that you are causing somebody else pain. It might simply be that 2 teachers did a great job and you walked by the 3rd one and didn't notice their efforts. Right? So it's error by omission or error by commission. It can be either way. Ad hoc approaches to discipline. Planning time. Teachers have to have planning time. There is no way to plan. You know, when we sit in our office, and I always say this, I don't mean this, crass, but I can go pee whenever I need to. If you're working with 2-year-olds, you can't. They can pee when they need to, but you can't. That is a hard job. How many times have you ever just walked into a 2-year-old's class and said, hey, I have this thing I do, it's called Telebyte Story. And I tell teachers, if you want, I'll come in during lunch, go take a break, I'll do a Telebyte Story with the kids. And I read a book and it's like, I can't go on until you take a bite, and I'll read the next page, and it's a Telebyte Story. Anyways, and then look, insufficient opportunities to grow. Yes, go back, yes,
Plenty of time.
sure. So our teachers get there at 8:15 and the kids come, they start car line. So some teachers go to car line at about 8:30, but they alternate. And then they have the kids who nap. Nap time is great planning time. But we build in the planning time. We also have in the calendar, we work with parents to create the calendar. We have days where we close, or half days where we close. And again, if you're exempt, I don't care, you put them on your own time. So for exempt teachers, I don't care.
And when we have conferences twice a year.
Yeah.
We close school twice a year, and everybody, all 4 teachers, if there is 4 teachers in a class, all 4 teachers need to be in a conference. It's not just 3 teachers who come
Yeah,
out there.
well, because again, everybody's a teacher. We respect them. I want to also, number 9, insufficient time to adjust. Sometimes we're desperate, I get it, and we have a teacher who quit, and we find a new teacher, we throw them into a class. Do you have a set professional onboarding system? If you don't, or you don't have the time, call me, I'll help you. Make a video. Literally, make a video of onboarding and say, hi, I want to introduce you to all the people that work in the building. Here's where the bathrooms are. Here's where you can take your lunch break. Here's where the time clock is. And send it to that new teacher and say, I've made an onboarding video. I know I'm going to throw you into a class, but I want to make sure that you feel welcomed and that your needs are met and that I take care of you. Do you know how far that will go with somebody? Huge, huge. By the way, Benny's also really good at making videos. Because I'm trying to make videos and he's so much better than me. So just make sure that you keep like a list of these on your desk and look through them. And like lack of appreciation. When was the last time I appreciated somebody? Really cute idea. Just go out and buy a whole bunch of cans of juice. We do this a few times a year. We'll buy all different kinds of juices and Cokes and everything else, and we'll put them in the office because success is judged by the can, not the cannot. Right? Or I have this crazy thing. I haven't done it lately because I've been out a lot, but there's a I check day. It'll tell you what holidays it is every day. It's like, oh my God, good morning, Isaiahs. Today is National Chocolate Day. There's chocolate in the office for everybody. Or good morning, Isaiahs. Today is National, Smiley Face Day. Put a smiley face on before you go to Carline. Just something cute. Welcome everybody. Make sure that they know you're there. Okay, go to the next one. Okay, if you want to find where I learned some of this stuff from, because I know it sounds like I made it all up, I didn't. The Equity Project Charter School in New York is a middle school, and when they opened up, their starting salary for a middle school teacher is $125,000 a year, with a $25,000 bonus when you finish your first year. Why do they pay so much? Because their teachers, and this is how we modeled our school, Avital and I are the only ones that run our entire school. So what we do is we have leverage, just like they did. When you're done with your day, If you're a level 4 or 5 especially, if you want administrative responsibilities, you come into the office and you do work. And that Equity Project Charter Middle School, that's what they did. They gave teachers professional salaries. But what doctor or lawyer works 4 hours a day and gets a full-time salary? So professional salaries, professional positions, professional responsibilities. We also pay up to $3,500 a year. You have to ask for it, you have to stay with us if you want to get your early childhood degree. We have some money in the pocket for some stray classes. And we went to a 12-month school year to pay 12-month salaries. That was huge, I'll tell you why. What I didn't realize until I started doing the math, when we had a school year from September to June, then teachers weren't paid for 2 weeks, parents weren't paying tuition for 2 weeks, and then we had a summer camp for 6 weeks, we got tuition, and then we were closed again for a week or two, teachers weren't paid, and parents weren't paid. So we were really only getting tuition for 11 months in a school year. By going to a year-round school year, we still take breaks and vacations and weeks off, but it's all built into a 12-month school year. I now get 12-month salary. It's 12 months tuition, and that's how I afford a 12-month salary. We make a lot more money. So we went from 350 to close to 200, and we're making the same amount of money. Exactly the same.
So what does that 12-month calendar year look like August?
So we start June, here, she's the detail person.
So, we end school this year on June 8th. The teacher has a week off, and then they come back June 19th. Children are so they have a
Probably
week.
really June 20 because June 19th is a federal
So,
holiday.
so they'll come out for a week of setup. Children are coming back June 26th, and then our year starts. Then we have a week in August to the end for a week off. It's about 10 days because it's Labor Day after September comes. We have a week in this Thanksgiving, a week off, and then 2 weeks for winter and 2 weeks for spring, and then again.
So how many school days a year?
More than the 183 we used to have. So now it's about 220.
And the teacher has about 6 weeks off during the year. This
So
is
the
not
6 weeks of
6 paid week off.
And the tuition is the same every month.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's 2 weeks or in school.
And the 6 weeks they have to take as well as school is closed, or they can take?
No, they can't
No,
take it anytime they want.
when the school is closed. So they get a calendar ahead of time and they're planning their vacation according to the calendar.
A lot of our teachers will also open up like little camps. You know what I mean? Like they'll do childcare for a few families, etc. Yeah.
Are the hourly employees also paid during these closed?
Yes, yes. The hourly, yes.
Well, because again, we are expecting those hourly employees to stay with us. Remember that we don't hire people who are going into some other field. We are nurturing the next generation of our staff. So we invest, we have taken every penny we could possibly spare, and it is all directed into the teachers.
Then all teachers are working then, is that?
You have to.
It's the start of the school year.
So they plan their vacations around the weeks we have off. Again, it might not be the place for everybody to work, right? It might not be for everybody. Okay, next one. Okay, number 4, technology. Oh, this is a loaded one. I was telling this to people before, if you want, I'm doing a STEM workshop tomorrow. We live in the 21st century. These tools, and I say this, I'm already a grandmother, but I'm 20. It is very challenging for me sometimes to use tech. Even last night when we were setting up the PowerPoint, Daniel's like, okay, I'll just do this for you. Because many of us that are in my generation, we are digital pioneers. We didn't grow up with iPhones and computers and everything else. I still remember the first time I sat on the internet, I didn't go to sleep till 5 in the morning. I was like, oh my gosh, it was incredible. I still remember where I was, everything. I was very hesitant to include tech in my school in the beginning. And then somebody said, you know, there's apps that can, oh, here, go to the next one. There are apps that can help you run the preschool. And so the executive director at the time had us try out, and I don't need to name all the other ones, but we tried one. teachers wanted to quit. We tried another one. One father could not get the app to work, so he literally drove off and quit our school. And it got so bad that I went up to my sons at the time and I said, oh my God, you have to fix this for us. And they said, oh, the app you're using is really crappy. We'll make something for you. And then COVID hit like almost overnight. I was like, oh my God, while you're doing this, it has to be touchless. Nobody can touch anything. We're all gonna die if anybody touches the sign in or sign out sheet. And Daniel and Josh said, okay, we'll make you something touchless. And it was called Carline, because all it was the car line. And then we opened up before anybody else in LA pretty much opened up, because Professor, I teach the health, safety, nutrition class, we were prepared for a pandemic. In fact, my students never understood why one of the assignments was to prepare for a pandemic. So while you were all scrounging around for Lysol, we had tons in the school. HEPA filters, air filtration, like we had everything. So we, yeah.
Tamara also like to buy from Amazon, and she has to describe to, you know, when you buy like soap or something.
Oh,
again
yeah.
and
Oh,
again
my
and
God.
again. And so she bought a lot of soap and Lysol, and like the store came and said, I cannot have any more Lysol. I cannot have any more.
And then the pandemic hit, and we're like,
we don't have storage. And then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we have Lysol.
I could have made a lot of money selling this. So the boys quickly turned it around, made it touchless, and then we opened before everybody. And we belong, we're in a Jewish preschool, we belong to something called the Bureau of Jewish Education, which is like 50 or 60 preschools. And so we led the opening of all the other schools, and they were like, what are you using? I said, we're using, my son's made me an app, can we use it? So Carline started going into all these other apps. And then all of a sudden it became Playground, and now they're like a real app, and we're like, oh my God, can it do this? Can it do this? So they came and sat with our teachers for weeks and watched our Carline and to see how it could work. And again, if you're, any tech you're using, whether it's a preschool management software, whatever it is, if anything is mediocre, that's how your school's going to be. And we did not want to use another app that was going to give us this. Teachers were just flabbergasted at why we couldn't get an app to work. So we realized, wow, can you guys put the California licensing forms on this? Yeah, sure. Oh my God, the California licensing forms are this. And it pre-populates so the parents don't have to write every time they get a form, their name on each form. Oh my God, we had one person in the office, I used to call her the keeper of all holy documents. That's what I called Peggy. And when Peggy quit during the COVID, I was like, do we need to replace Peggy? Playground is doing everything for us. Oh my God, that's $65,000 into the salary line. Boom. And then towards the end of COVID, the other office manager ended up moving and taking another job, and she was the one that kept the car line and everything else going, and the billing and chasing parents. Can you guys do billing? Yeah, we can do that. Oh my God, I don't have to call parents, nobody has to chase parents, the money's just coming in directly to our bank every single month. So now it's just me and her. And you know what? I'm gonna share some maybe TMI. Over the last 2.5, almost 3 years, I've been in chemo. I know I have hair, it doesn't look like it, but I'm patient number 2 in a clinical trial. I have not been to work in 3 years consistently. She has been running the preschool pretty much single-handedly with my level 4 and 5 teachers and this app. All that money is now going into the teacher line. So when you ask me, how do I afford all of this? It's because we have leveraged tech.
I have a question.
Yes,
Did you have to pay your tech staff, or because there was a familial relationship, they did it for free?
we don't get it for free.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay.
We don't get it for free.
Okay.
We don't own our preschool, so there's no, like, it doesn't come out of my pocket if I pay them or I don't pay them. I don't think they would have gone that far if we hadn't paid them, because they had to live off of something in the beginning, but no, we definitely pay them. And not only that, but as the director of a nonprofit preschool, her as well, if one day, because I'm actually transitioning out and she's going to be assuming my position next year, the app needs to stay even when we're not there. So yeah, we're actually, I'd rather keep the relationship with my son very strong. Oh, you lost a slide.
You guys have any question regarding
What is the app name?
What
It's
is
called
that?
Playground.
Playground.
They'll tell you, can talk to them afterwards, but you can go to tryplayground.com. Okay, go to the next one. And here's the other thing. We also empower our teachers over the budget. So remember I told you about horizontal leadership? My teachers all get $1,000 in their classrooms to spend. You probably, if you're the owner or director, you're the one that does all the purchasing. Relinquish some of that power. Trust your teachers. Whatever your budget is for supplies and food or whatever, trust your teachers and give them some control over spending that money for their classrooms. You'd be surprised how many of our teachers then collaborate to share funds and do things together. It's pretty cool. Okay, next one. The other thing, don't ask what my cars used to smell like. I would go at 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning, and I would pick up produce and everything else. I had a dad who owned a restaurant, said, oh, I can have my guys deliver produce to you. Great, they would bring me cases of bananas that would be ripe in a week. Not what I wanted. Or maintenance would take some of the food out, and then I'd be driving and we'd get into my car, she knows, and there'd be fruit flies swirling around in my car because they dropped a strawberry somewhere in the back. And not only that, but my mornings were spent going back and forth to the stores. Sometimes you'd come with me, you go through the aisles, you load it into the grocery cart, you go to the checkout, you unload it, then you load it back in, then you go to your car, you load it, then you come to school, you unload it, then you gotta divide it up. It was a nightmare. And I realized that not only was I destroying my car, well now cars over 20 years, I was wasting valuable time that I could have been walking around the classrooms doing other things that I enjoy, and I was hating it, literally hating it. So I tried some kind of Amazon delivery, and they were also not bringing me what I wanted. And then somebody told me to try Instacart. And Instacart, you're going to pay the extra money of the delivery fee. But I want you to think about your time and how much your time is worth compared to that delivery fee. Not only that, but because I buy so frequently all snacks, so it's usually once or twice or more a week, I have the same shoppers. And they'll text me in the morning, and I'll be like getting out of the shower and relaxing, having a coffee at Starbucks. Hi, I'm shopping for you again. I see that you usually buy this, they're out of it, but you usually are okay with replacing it with this. Is that okay? I'm like, yeah. I now have, especially there's 4 of them, I have 4 people from Instacart who are really my employees. They work for me. I mean, they literally work for me. They are fantastic. They know exactly where to drop off the stuff. They know exactly what I like. And if I need green bananas because I need to order today, but I need it for Friday, I can text them and tell them exactly what I want. Or I can say, I need you to send me a picture so I can see which one I want. It is like having your mom shopping for you. It's so freaking cool. And now I have so much time that now we have meetings with teachers, meeting with parents. I can join more IEPs, which happen often in the mornings. It has literally saved so much valuable time and so good produce. And I have my picks, so I have like my 4 different stores. I love Sprouts, by the way. If you don't love Sprouts, you gotta get into Sprouts. So I've got Sprouts, I've got a few other stores, and etc. Okay, next. Okay, ChatGPT. Do you want to do this one?
I'll talk about it.
Okay, come here, because he's so much better. The younger people know it better. But you gotta see what, oh my God, yes.
Alright, so I'm not as much on the day-to-day for the preschool stuff, but I can talk about all of this. ChatGPT, very new. There's a free version online also, but it has saved so much time on all of the tedious writing tasks. So when you're coming up with menus, with lesson plans, with newsletters, with pretty much anything that requires a lot of time to write, rewrite, edit, and you want to do multiple passes, that first version can be written super quickly by ChatGPT. It's free, you can make an account online.
Show them what we did last night.
Oh yeah, I wrote a
You
quarterly
gotta see
as well.
what we did last night right here in the lobby.
Job descriptions also.
Job descriptions,
Letters of recommendation, we'll write them
Yes.
for you.
Watch
everything.
this.
Well, so you prompt it, you
So
can
here,
add.
write a preschool lesson plan. Oh, write a preschool lesson plan about marine animals. Whoa! What? Here, read a picture book after reading, ask about, you gotta go and look, You can say, write a lesson plan about marine animals and give me in-depth questions to probe kids for understanding. Like you can go that, yes,
Is it awkward in Spanish as well?
Yeah, it's not 100% as good, so you might need to do some editing, but it still does a lot of it. So like, it's conversational. You can say, translate this to Spanish, and then it will translate the conversation to Spanish. You could follow up and ask like, hey, this seems geared to 5-year-olds. Can we do something more for a toddler base?
give it data, it'll give you projections for income for the next 10 years.
And it'll ask you questions, like if it needs more information, it'll say, before I can write this, again, letter of recommendation, can you
Yes!
give me the name of this person,
Yes!
how long they've been working?
Yeah.
You pop it in there and then it's perfectly written.
Yes,
Yeah.
it helps you with everything.
Well, so I will say I wouldn't take it out of the box. I would
Yeah, you have
definitely.
to check it, you have to read it word for word, make sure it's okay, yes.
And implement it to you.
It's still not a very high quality thing that you can trust yet, I should say. All right,
But first version tends to be like 90% of the way there.
look, ask the children what they learned and what they enjoyed most. Remind them that the ocean, I don't know what that, it's covered with something, but anyways.
I can do a demo if people want to see that also.
There you go.
If you have questions.
Yeah,
So if you need to make a menu for the week, and then you have to post your menu, you can just say,
Yeah.
the menu, this is
Yeah.
what you want to do, it will generate that.
all right, next one, thank you. Okay, oh, it's such a long one, okay, Spotify. I have the free version. I don't pay for it, I get the commercials, but, oh my God, circle time playlists, cleanup playlists, sleepy time playlists, holiday playlists. You make one playlist, it's there forever. Oh my God.
And then you can have the little Alexa, or you just say,
Yeah.
Alexa,
Player,
find
yeah.
playlist.
Yeah,
Then it, or, yeah.
yep. I learned because when I went to babysit my granddaughter, the first time, it was, my son-in-law goes, Alexa, play Maya's lullaby list. I was like, what? Oh my God, it's amazing. And she goes right to sleep with the lullaby list. Okay, next one. Okay, so, where can we find the money to fund higher salaries? How can we use money to retain top teachers? Next. So, first of all, make your salary scale very clear and available. I have to tell you what this has done. The end of the year, okay, Tamar, I want a raise. There is no more negotiating. This is the salary scale. Oh, but I'm such a good teacher. I've been here. I've done this. I've done this. We have one teacher who was really upset because she's been with us for a long time, and a new teacher who came in at the same level of exempt after a while is now making the same as her. And I said, do you really think that her years somewhere else is not equal to your years here? And it takes out the negotiation and the argument, because I have a document that we use that we don't negotiate with, so to speak. So everybody knows what everybody else is making. That is so, do you know how yucky it feels? I was consulting to a school where one teacher was making $10 more an hour than another teacher doing the same job, and she found out. You would leave? If you didn't get that $10 an hour, you would leave because you feel underappreciated, you feel like things are underhanded and tricky there. Not a good place to work. So, have a salary scale, and again, we're happy to share the one that we have. It's interactive, it's really cool on Excel. Reallocate money, and have a really serious discussion with anybody involved. So if you work with a board, if you work with an owner, if you work with your spouse, who owns your preschool with you, whatever it is, you've got to be able to retain top quality and pay money. Okay, next. Invest in your customers. So, if the United States government ran as well as our school, here's how it would run. So our office is the executive branch. The parents in our school are the legislative branch. And then we have the board, that is the judicial branch. Everybody knows everything that's going on. So we have two branches of the parents. One is called the PAC, the Preschool Advisory Committee. And then the PAC oversees the PPA, which is the Preschool Parent Association, like your PTA. The PAC, in order to get on the PAC, you have to send in an application, like your own nomination, and you tell us why you want to be on the PAC. We take your name off of it, and then it goes to the current PAC, who then weighs all the people who want to be on the PAC, and they vote, and we have, I think PAC is made up of 14 members. It's 5% or something of the parents of the school. And we meet once a month. There's a agenda, there is a teacher representative on PAC as well, so that they know what's going on. Again, everything is transparent. The only time the teacher representative walks out is if we're talking about the teachers and something that we don't want them to hear yet. But when we went to a 12-month school year, it was voted on by the PAC. Why? Because then we're not the ones getting faulted. Not only that, but we also tell PAC when we want to do something great that can't really be advertised yet because we know they're going to gossip a little. It's our way of politicking. It's also our way of turning people from renters into owners. When you're a renter and the water is leaking, you don't give a damn. But when you're an owner and the water is leaking, you're going to fix that right away. So we want people to feel like owners of our school. And one way to make ownership is to put them, have that kind of power. Then the board is made up of people who have either graduated the preschool or older. You can also have community members, etc. And once a month the board meets, and then you talk to the board about what's going on, and you tell them where you need money, and hopefully you've got some rich people on there and they donate some money, which we're doing now for a kitchen remodel. Okay, next one. Oh, one other, yeah, sorry.
How do you get people interested in wanting to come to your PAC?
Oh, so here, go back to the previous, so that's, here, this. I should have gone over this. We do a lot of really fun, exciting things that make it feel like a community. So for example, we're going, if you know where Lake Kachuma is, we're going tent camping to Lake Kachuma the weekend of like May 9th or 19th. We rent out rooms in a hotel in Palm Springs once a year. This was my last year. For 20 years, we had Night at Tamar's, where all the parents were invited to a party at my house. Trashed my house once a year. We also, the beginning of the school year, this is also really cool that we do. We have something, we call it parent coffees, but they're really like dinner now. We'll ask a parent in each class to open their home to the parents and the teachers and us. And we will go to their house and we talk about what they can expect during the school year, what to bring on the first day, what their learning goals are, what events we're going to do, and we have a PAC. And we would love one person from every class to be on PAC because this is your opportunity to have voting privileges and make a difference not only in your child's class, but in the whole school and the community, etc. We never have a problem with getting people on the PAC or
On
PPA.
the other end, we sometimes have to say, okay, we have so many people.
We have too many, yeah, too many that apply. Again, we've created a culture. It's all about creating a culture. And when we give our tours, we talk about the PAC and the PPA and how our school operates. So we mostly get clients who are really looking for that kind of a community. You know, if you think back to either if you have kids when your kids were little and the friends you have now or who you grew up with, most of us made friends with the people our kids met, parents in preschool, right? And so, like an oak tree, the best, biggest, longest living trees are the ones who settle down in one place, are not transplanted, and make very deep roots. We are very proud of our school as well. We tout this a lot. Martin Luther King came and spoke at our school when he was working on civil rights. Robert Kennedy spoke at our school. We are a very social justice oriented community as well. And our only philosophy in raising children is we just want them to be really good, decent human beings. Everything else will come into place there. We are not a fancy building. We don't have fancy stuff. We have really great teachers. That's the most important thing. Yeah.
I was wondering, I don't know if you've already mentioned this, but how big is your school?
So we were at 350 right before COVID. Now we're at a little under 300, 200 and something. Yeah. On one campus. Yeah. We have 4 different playgrounds. We have it's a very old building. My high school was in that building 2 years ago.
We have 45 staff. What's your ratio?
Our ratios, don't cry. Our 2-year-olds are 4 teachers with 16 kids. Our 3-year-olds are 18 children with 4 teachers. And our 4 and 5-year-olds are 18 children with 3 teachers. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So in order to a good question. In order for the teachers to get along, it doesn't just happen like that.
Right.
You really, again, need to invest in your teacher. So, for example, every month we have a day when we choose to celebrate that birthday of the month, so on March. We choose a morning and we offer breakfast to the teachers, celebrate those.
I make
who have a
scrambled
birthday.
eggs.
Yeah. We have, and we celebrate those people who celebrate birthday that month. And with that also we have holidays, parties that we do for the teachers, and every time is a different thing that we are doing. For this year in December we took them to a escape room.
Yeah.
And then, so all this, yes, it costs us money, but we invest in our teachers. We feel that those money good are well worth it to invest in our teachers.
Yeah.
That's understood, but how do you divide the responsibility in the classroom when you have 4 of them? Do they have?
Well, again, remember that everybody's called a teacher. So we give them time before they come together to work on, we tell them, you know, figure out who's gonna do what, how you guys are gonna manage, but the level 4 teacher in every room, that's their job. And they are really well versed in it. You know, most of our teachers that are level 4 or 5 already have bachelor's and master's degrees in early childhood. The other thing, know this as well, if you've never heard this expression before, forming, storming, norming, performing. So first you form a group, and then there'll be some storming. That's okay. That's okay. That's where everybody gets their ideas across, you hear who people are, and then you start norming, and then you're performing. So if you guys are arguing, and you're arguing over what's best for children, amazing! Those are the best kinds of fights to have, because everybody wants what's best for a child, right?
Another thing to believe in is talking to one another instead of about one another.
Yeah, talk to each other instead of about each other. Yeah. I don't know, is somebody in here named Priya? Oh, you're Priya. Yay, I'm Tamar. So I told Priya to come and watch because I said, I'm gonna put Instacart into my thing, you guys need to come. But Instacart's here, I think they have a table and Playground has a table, I'll let you guys talk to them if you need anything. Otherwise, Avital and I are here all weekend. Daniel, just go to the last one. That's my cell phone number, my email address, if you guys need to, if you wanna have anything sent to you.
And
Yeah.
if you guys want the recording of this session and all the resources that Tamar discussed will be shared out, just come to me, I'll scan your badge and I'll make sure that you get those to your
Yeah,
emails.
salary scales, the teacher evaluation, all of that stuff. We share everything freely. And now you have enough time to get online for coffee.
Thank you.
Not good. Let me see the photo. How's that sound? Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you, Michelle. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the conference. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Enjoy. Wonderful. Enjoy the conference.
Thanks very much.
Thank you guys.
Can I get a photo?
Yes, of course.
We go to one parent's house.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, Jennifer. Enjoy. Penny, enjoy. Angela, enjoy.
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy the conference. Enjoy. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Oh, your name is actually being covered. There we go. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy. Awesome. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Brenda, enjoy. Technology. We're making it work.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you. Thank you.